alive. They're going to do it off the back of Marble, Tristana, and Rhina Rel. It should be a banger as we load onto the Rift.
Calm before the storm. This is what it is. Are we going to see any invades? The Hawks are repeating it. They're right. We're on blue side. Blue side has got a 100% win rate throughout this series. Is it going to fall now? Are we going to go to silver scrapes? Is Sengoku going to get blue side again? Or have they figured it out? They are pinging a lot around this map at this moment in time, and you can tell Sengoku know exactly what they're doing this on, but this time they're deciding to invade with a Poppy against the Xin Zhao. And in my personal experience, that's the one that Xin Zhao wins.
Yeah, it's, well, you have Rel, pretty decent level 1 champion, and I think that's where a lot of the strength lies, as it did when they pulled this same play in Game 2. It's a lot about how good your support's level 1 is. I would take Rel over TK, but this time the Vision Exchange is a little bit more in the favor of Sengoku. They see where Dasher is. They could really make a nice little pinch come through. Yeah, look at... Oh, Blank all on his lonesome up on the top end of that jungle, but Dasher going to get some poke down onto Jet. Do they know that there. Blank is up there? Oh, this is so bizarre, Swan. No, they definitely do, because Enti's playing Ring Around the Rosie, but Blank should have a free path out. Takes the Wolves away once again, gets a little bit of a head start on the full clear.
I imagine that's probably going to turn into absolutely nothing outside of maybe the first one that could be on the map, that could turn into something. It just kind of depends where these two junglers are going to end up. Both Poppy and Xin Zhao can definitely do early game pathing. We already saw that from Blank in a previous game, so in that game too. So I'm skeptical of the ultimate outcomes of all of this. I'm still skeptical. But I'm intrigued to see how it's going to come out, because Xin Zhao is an early game champion, and he's already looking for something here on Dasher.
Yeah, that's Dasher's flash blown. That's Jet coming on in, finds the chains for the first blood. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, as Rhina also feeling the engage bug, but doesn't connect on anything, so just ticks down as well. We said the Hawks needed to have a good early game, Swan, and just in the blink of an eye, it feels like the game's already over for them.
Let me sing you a song of my favorite people. I don't think we're going to be hearing that for very soon, because once is coming in again!
You've got to be kidding me, Kanatsu. Get out of there, mate. That's kills in all 3 lanes, 3 minutes in. A kill a minute pace for Sengoku. It feels like they are done with this series, Swan. It feels like they are done waiting around as we get a look on how this all went down. Scary, scary stuff if you're a Hawks fan.
And part of the reason it goes so well for this is Rhina, NT and Vital are both slowly chipping down Rhina throughout that play. So when they go for it, but Black, what are you doing?
Oh my god, Enti actually might have put himself in a bad situation, but the backup is there. The explosive charge will be flashed away from. Can't finish him off, although the kill does come through. The resets so big for Marble. Might have just saved this game as Blank is forced to flash to get out. But Softbank Hawks do get something on the back half at the very least. That could have gone even more disastrously for the Hawks.
Huge Goomba jump coming out from Marble there. You identified it. But he had to use both of his summoners to actually make that a net neutral to a net good positive play. I don't actually know if that turns into a net neutral play now, because you ultimately traded your cleanse and flash for NT's flash. I don't really think that's a positive trade. I think that's something that Xin Zhao and once could punish. And that means now Marble has to be extra careful, because you only have your jump away. And we're already seeing Once is hungry for blood. 2 ganks, 1 in top, 1 in mid, and they're looking for more. There's going to be blood in this fight. And early game is already coming out hugely in Sengoku's favor, even with that one play slightly going in the Hawks' favor.
Yeah, it's been everything we could have hoped for, I guess, from the Hawks after what was a very disastrous start to this game. They didn't give up. They didn't say the game is now over, time to sit back and lose. They did go for something aggressive. It cost a lot of resources, but that's what you need to do. You need to get up when you eat that left hook, and you need to throw a jab in return. Now they have stymied this gold lead a little bit, cut it to about 1,000. Still not where you want to be at 5 minutes, but there are paths back. And we will just have to see where they can leverage them. Enti going to show up on Vision. Could mean Dasher is safe here. Just has to play very respectfully without that flash.
And something I would like to bring to your lovely attention, as well as all of our lovely viewers and listeners out there. Blank went back early at 3, and then he's gone over and cleared his Gromp and blue buff very late, by the way. The timing is going to be super off. Whereas once decided to finish a full clear and then go topside. They're actually looking for something here, but I don't know if they're actually going to get it.
He failed the crash down over the wall. They might still get this, though, as Blank found a nice angle onto Enti, but he's so tanky, it sets up once to come in with that Crescent Guard and pick it up. Oh my goodness, another kill for Sengoku as Rhina defaulting to his off-meta signature pick on the Rel here and failing to get over the wall with his W spells. Disaster for the Hawks in that skirmish.
And that was junglers recalling, setting up, and then trying to make a play before this dragon spawns. This was the preemptive dragon fight. The issue is, if you fight before it's even there, once now just gets to go into his jungle, clear Gromp here, probably get close to 6, and feel even more comfortable going into this fight. As it comes in, Reiner misses the crash down, and then ultimately this play is kind of dead. Thankfully, though, they have the numbers advantage, and it's a pretty good dissuade, but Blank is just a bit too deep. Once is able to come in, escort, red buff also giving that slow, and now Blank, you're in a bit of a rock and a hard place, and you've got the rock throwing girl. What are you going to be able to do? You're going to be able to find something here as the dragon has spawned. Jet is recalling. They have got bot lane prio at the moment, so is this going to be contested, or is this going to be something that they're just going to give over? It's a cloud dragon, so theoretically it should be something that one of these teams can gladly give up. It's not important, really.
Famous last words, Swan, as this one will seemingly go over free. Rhina hovering. Marbles here. They can try and all-in somebody, but it's a 4v3. Talia does have the Weaver's Wall, though. Can show up. Has both sums. Dasher, we said you need to carry. We said you need to be the focal point for the Hawks in this pivotal game. Can you get there? Can you make the difference? Here comes the wall. Dasher is attached. Cuts off all of Sengoku. Gets some nice poke in. The dragon doesn't reset fully. Does stay leashed, so it is continuing to tick on down. It's the 50-50. Who is going to claim it? Both of these teams so scared to go in. The reluctance. What's going to happen? Blank does pick it up. Softbank Hawks get out as Enti doesn't connect. Even gets shoved back into the stones. This could be the big setup to get Hawks back in. The thick skin keeps him alive a little while longer, but he will still be food for Dasher. He is feeling hungry on the Talia as Jet forced to walk away here. Softbank Hawks staying afloat right now.
Yeah, and that was a team fight that actually, it wasn't ever a 50-50. Blank had actually cleared enough to actually finish his empowered smite, so he had empowered smite for that. Once hadn't actually finished off his smite. He still had one last charge left, meaning that for that dragon, assuming Blank doesn't have a slight faux pas moment or a slight misplay, it was relatively free. The issue is how that outcome went afterwards, and it's the collapse onto Enti. Dasher does a rather good Weaver's Wall here, very much splits the fight up and basically sets it up so that Blank can very much secure this dragon without much contention. So then they just wait. And they slowly pick up the dragon. They wait for Blank's smite to fully come back up because he smited prior to this fight so we could have the empowered smite. He's able to secure it with just an auto in there. And then afterwards, they just get out. The issue is, oh my god, they want more blood.
Yeah, that's the full dive coming on in. Blank just walks behind Enti and knocks him away. This is what this comp does so well. Softbank Hawks refusing to go quietly into the night. It was a disastrous start, and it was almost a disastrous finish, but Rhina does get away from that Moonlight Vigil. The Hawks continuing to exchange blows here, Swan.
Mate, older Felios would have hit that, because it was like 4 screens across you could land that. Like, oh, like, hilarious, vital. Mate, in spring, I think that would have still hit. That's the funnier part. But hey, Blank isn't going quietly either. And yeah, he's just knocking away this Aphelios, and they're going to take an extra turret plate or two, maybe.
That's a nice block coming through as well. Jet can't get in past Blank's W, so they secure some plate damage, if not the whole second plate. They do crash the wave and keep Vital out of XP range, keep Vital from turning that around on a 3v2 to kill one of them. A very auspicious usage of the Poppy Hammer there from Blank.
I'll be honest. Marble and Rhina are making this Tristana Rel bot lane look legit good.
Yeah, and that was after a bad start, too.
Yes, bad start. And this is not a meta bot lane by any stretch of the imagination. Like I think that's what's really impressive to see, because Vital and Enti are like a good to top tier bot lane, but they're looking for something here on Dash, and he's caught out!
Yeah, he was forced to flash, but can he find it onto once? No, the stones will not find any stuns. The stunning stones find no stuns. Stay that 5 times fast. As once gets in, gets out, does the Xin Zhao things cleanly, and don't look now. We've been waiting for Jet to show up. Did a little bit on the Talia last game. 3-0 now on the Silas. That is one scary mid laner.
Oh, it's terrifying. And the fact is, Jet is one of those players that he's against the MVP player for the Fukuoka Softbank Hawks. Dasher is that guy that outputs more damage than anybody else in the league in playoffs. He is the player, the defining member for the Fukuoka Softbank Hawks. He is currently not having a fantastic game. Yes, he is currently CS ahead, but it's because he's been kind of forced to stay in his lane far more, and Jet has been able to have a bit of versatility in assisting. Remember, he was the one that came into the mid brush. He kind of had played around stuff. He was the first one to make it down to bot lane for some of these skirmishes. It's not always worked out, but that's where it's coming out from. He's been able to be a benefactor of a lot of the gold, and I mean, hey, Marble, you're taking a lot of free damage just from Vital doing what Vital does best, which is be a fantastically mechanical player.
And play a 200 years champion. Can't forget that. Tristana, I'm sorry you were made in 2012. You just can't stand up to the likes of the Moon Man. As now Rhina left to try and catch this wave and hopefully hold some of it on his lonesome. Dasher maybe going to come down and try and catch it. Was hovering midway through. Going to pop that blast plant just to see what the situation is on the ground down in the bot lane. Rhina going to collect some of this, but nice setup for Sengoku here to get to the pit, maybe get some wards down, and free roam and reset right ahead of this Infernal Drake spawn.
Yeah, a little bit late, as it was going to be 35 seconds that both of this bot lane... Oh, God, NT's still not gone back yet. No, so it's going to be 30 seconds that they're going to have to take, which is basically the time to run straight down from base to your lane. So I imagine they're going to run straight down, look to clear, and then rotate around, which is also when Once is planning to do it, as he's doing his wolf camp. So we should see a lot of just very straightforward handshaking, nodding of everybody here on the Rift. Would be very strange to see Hawks decide to do anything else, because they should be aware that timing coming in, Drake should be fought for. But Anti's going very deep, and they don't know Blank's there.
Oh, yeah, that was the nice setup coming through the brush. Anti does have the thick skin, but look at all of that CC coming through from Sengoku. Once just way too late to the party. The Hawks going to pick one up there with a nice bit of pathing from Blank. Continuing to be the catalyst here, back on that Poppy like we saw in game number 2, continuing to be a big deciding factor, and now they should be able to pick up their second Drake of the game as well. Not just treading water, but swimming beautifully and swiftly right now. They are continuing to keep their options open into this later game.
But they're getting more gold into Jet and to Once, and hey, look at this. They are playing very straight up. They're like, hey, we're going to force the wave in. We're now going to make it so it's a very difficult spot that if they decide to come around the side, we can probably remove one of their players from the very beginning of the fight, which then means we can probably just win the 2v2 afterwards. We're at full health. We are a Silas Xin Zhao. If we can't win a duel like this when we get to delete somebody and then play it as fair as possible afterwards, what's the point? They're not able to find anybody, and as we come into this replay, NT is trying to look for something. They don't have any vision, though, other than that Rhino was recalling. Blank had been staying in that brush for so long, and as you mentioned, Once was just so late. It doesn't really amount to anything. Hawks playing so well around their bot lane at the moment.
Yeah, and that's all we said we wanted from the Hawks. That was our only request of them. Dasher needs to step up, and the bot lane needs to get ahead early. And they put some roadblocks in their way, Swan, but then they drove right over them with a plum. So congrats to Marble and Rhina. You got the first part of the checklist done. Now they need to transition it into the mid-game smoothly and use that lead to win this game, take us to Game 5.
Or, for Sengoku, they are looking to have Vital get more gold in them, who's currently at the moment in a pretty big deficit. Remember in the past, in the previous games, Marble hasn't been able to come into a huge lead over Vital. Normally Vital stays very comparable and then eventually finds spots where he can scale similarly. Game 2, he struggled to do that, but he had moments where Vital was okay at doing this throughout the game. This time around, I mean, I think if anything, this is Marble favored. The CS, the gold, items, kill. I mean,
everything's coming up Marble.
I mean, for once, yeah, in the series it really is. And I mean, it's on a champion that is not super meta, but you can tell there's comfort there. Hey, if he gets to play more comfort champions like this, there could very much be a Silver Scrapes moment, and maybe even Hawks win?
I mean, I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but it would be a pretty fun upset to see. I will say, going back to our focus on Marble, playing the best Tristana skin as well. Firefighter Tristana, awesome auto attacks. Underrated skin.
Well, I mean, I own it, but I'm a big Dragon Tamer guy just because I like dragons and like dinosaurs and stuff.
You know what? Fair. Reptiles are awesome. And speaking of, well, I guess he's more of an amphibian, but Enti, back on this signature TK. Yeah. We'll see if things rebound for him, because it's been a bit of a rough early. We've seen Enti putting himself in harm's way, as you often have to on the Kench. It's a support pick that can look very good like last game, or look quite poor like it has so far this game. We'll see how Enti does rebound, because this Rift Herald is on the map, and it's ready to be fought over, and it seems like these teams are hovering towards it.
Bit surprising that we're seeing so much priority thrown into a Rift Herald. I mean, this is Rift Herald number 2 as well, but I mean, hey, the bot lane has also rotated around for Sengoku Gaming, and so they are going to get priority and look to start this. I wouldn't honestly hate if they wanted to throw someone like Paz or Jet into a side lane just to farm effectively, but I mean, we're just A-ramming here. This is just a good old J-ram.
We're fighting for mid lane shove, as was so spoke by the ancestors long ago. Long live the J-Ram, as the Poppy ultimate was the takeaway there from Jet on the Sylas, so could quickly equalize a fight if one does break out. This team's really reluctant to give up this mid lane control, and it could just turn into one of these tug-of-wars for a while.
Sengoku should just be going. They should just throw the go button, because Talia doesn't have TP at the moment. They should just be going.
Oh, yeah. Dasher stuck on the summoner heal from the spellbook. Look at that.
I mean, it's fine for them, because, I mean, they've got the TP in the side lane, right? And Paz was able to just escort the wave in bot lane. So, hey, this is all just coming up Sengoku. I mean, hey, that's one way. First turret going down. That's a nice chunk of change. And now the team's been able to reset, and they can get back onto the map first.
Yeah. We'll see what Ryan and Marble can do after they secure this mid lane shove. Will be 35 seconds to the Mountain Drake Herald live on the map. Which way, Softbank Hawks, which way will you choose? I think the Dragon stacking is the safe one. As you point out, that Rift Herald, second Rift Herald, a lot less value, even with the new buffed local gold on it. Better to get your Drake stacking in perpetuity. Those buffs last forever.
Interesting. Once was pinging assist me over at the Rift Herald, so I'm a little surprised that they're not trying to prevent at least allowing Hawks to get to the soul stack. I mean, if they confidently believe they want to force stack it themselves in response, or just only fight around it when it comes up, otherwise ignore it, I do think that's a bit tempting. But I mean, hey, very deep TP coming in. Jet is here. We're getting a fight.
Yeah, maybe. It looks like they're pretty late, though. Our Sengoku, this Drake, at half health. Softbank Hawks not really cutting through it that fast, even with the scissors coming out from Gwen. Now, once near the pit, this could be the 50-50, but the Poppy Hammer ready to go. Rhino with the engage will set it up nicely. Once already half health, has to go into the Crescent Guard. That is going to be the stasis coming on through for Dasher, as Gwen trying to cut on through, but look at Enti in the back, going to gobble up his AD carry, try and keep Vital in a place where he can carry, but Blank walks away with a sliver. Look at the aggressive flash forward from Vital, though, to find the double kill, and now Rhino forced to run for the hills, crash on down, but not on the enemy's head, instead into his own territory, as Sengoku take the 2 for 2, but they do cut off the Drake stacking.
And it was so perfect until Vital was left unchecked, and they were able to reign supreme. Red gun, white gun, Aphelios is something that we all know you should never check. It begins out with a Gravitum, and it does look pretty good. I mean, there's a split fight here. However, Jet and Paz are able to kind of do a pincer moment onto the side of the Hawks, and this Poppy ultimate, I mean, it gets onto nobody. It does absolutely nothing. The other fact is, the side of the Hawks, they're split in this fight. They have mixed communication on who they want to target. First, it's onto Blank, but then they're like, I don't know, maybe we want to get onto Jet, maybe we want to get onto Vital. Vital gets eaten by Enti, and then spat back out, but he's got such a massive shield. He's just able to go forward, and that's where the flash forward play. He believes in himself because he's got just the health bar to go for it, and then they secure the dragon afterwards. Sengoku do one more fight like that, they're going to easily secure this win. Kanatsu getting a lot of damage out, but it was in pretty awkward spots. A lot of that damage was onto Enti, and it doesn't really amount to much. He was able to get out.
Yeah, it's The tried and true long-lasting paradox of League. It's all about the target selection. You can do tons of damage to the tank, but that's what the tank is there for. He's meant to absorb a beating, and absorb it well did Enti with that whole second health bar coming through the thick skin. Sets up Vital so well, and now with the Baron Nashor on the map, Sengoku can easily threaten that. Aphelios will tear through it once the gun combination gets right. As Paz looking a little bit aggressive, but he was chunked to begin with. I don't think you want this into Konatsu with that finished Rift Maker. Instead, it will be Softbank Hawks looking for a mid play. There's the Reaver's Wall. There's the hammer as the Savage back comes through. Enti just a little bit too thick, though.
Yeah, I mean, this was more of a formality as well. Remember, that was where the Rift Herald was used by Sengoku earlier in this game. So they've thrown it mid. They wanted to get it low. Hawks, though, have had a lot of priority in this mid lane. Remember, they were forcing the J-Ram. My stream has gone dead. Am I still here?
Yeah, unfortunately, the stream has gone dead for me as well. I don't know if we're still broadcasting to the fans out there, but
well, we will continue. So, Chris... or anybody in... Oh, and we're back, I think. Well, hey, it's totally fine. Don't have to worry about anything. Pretend nothing happened, ladies and gentlemen. Everything was a mirage. But we're back.
This series is not just eating away at me and Swan's mental capability. It's affecting everybody now. It was a mass shared hallucination that the stream paused for a moment.
Mass hysteria was had, but thankfully no -1/-1 counters. It was only till the end of turn. So, and it was only to attack, not to defense. So thankfully, we didn't lose everything there, or it could have been truly an awful spot that we could have found ourselves in. But
speaking of awful spots, Swan.
Yes, please do.
I think Softbank Hawks not so happy with where they rest right now. That Drake stacking being cut off sort of eliminates them from reaching their full late game potential. Tristana does scale pretty well for a character that has the early all-in potential that she does, but she doesn't scale like an Aphelios, even with the range she does have access to. So the sooner, or rather the longer Vital gets to go on unperturbed and cut off any stalling methods from Softbank Hawks, any finishing methods from Softbank Hawks, the happier he is, especially with how clutch Enti's been at keeping him alive. This might be a good way of trying to force some more action, though, is to try and find a dive on Paz, but the wave evaporates, so Softbank Hawks just gonna pull back.
But you know what we're getting prepared for, because it's 1:30, Dragon Fight's coming back up, so I mean, this is what these two teams want to look for, and Sengoku currently have the lead. They're currently decisively hitting item spikes, their itemization's coming through. I mean, this is a Renekton who rushed Blade of the Ruined King correctly, may I just add, but afterwards has gone into tank mode, and he will just be that front line that's awkward to deal with. Xin Zhao will be the backup, Jet will be the flanker, and Vital is just expected to do damage over time. And if they can get a mountain dragon, or just even if they don't get to the time to get to Soul, because let's be real, 3 dragons at 23 minutes or 24 minutes is kind of slow. I've known games where you already get the Soul before 25 minutes. So, I mean, hey, it's a slow one.
If you're doing it optimal. Oh, yeah.
Exactly. If you're doing it slow. But talking about doing it slow and hoping to do it all optimally, Jet, his build.
Yeah.
I want to just highlight one little item. That's a Dark Seal. Big thumbs up from me. He's now got multiple buttons to press. He's got 6 buttons to press. He's got actives. He's got flash, summoners. Everything's coming up, and I'm expecting Jet to be a defining member in this next team fight.
Yeah, it's on him to pop off, as we have been pressing upon for most of this series here now. Jet needs to come in and really make a difference. Started getting really explosive in the early game, hasn't been as important since, but this is a moment in time where destiny rests on his shoulders. He has the big AP, he has the stasis, he has the extra CC, but the engage is going to come forward first from the Hawks. They find their opportunity, they take it. The Crescent Guard going to keep once very healthy for quite a while. This TP from Jet maybe going to lead him to his own doom, has to get out of there. Retreat into the Hallowed Mist, as now Paz is in the Dominus straight out of the TP, can live for quite a while. This is such a split fight. fight. Vital gets a lot of fight out, and it's low health bars on both sides, but no kills. What a chaotic fiesta. I think it goes a little bit better for the direction of Sengoku, though they have more built-in sustain in their kits, but now look at that burn coming through from Dasher onto the frontline members. Into the Drake pit, go Paz and Jet. They are trying to aggro this one. Meanwhile, this fight is split once again, though, as it feels it has been so many times in this series. Going back to aggro and vamp up off that blue buff is once. He has a little bit more healing, has the heal available. Here comes the Reaver's Wall. Paz is going to get onto the other side as Jet is forced to flash, but the seismic shove puts him right where Blank wants him. They find the alley-oop, they find the kill, and now Sengoku running for the hills into their own territory. Paz has no dominance left. The jump is not quite going to find him, as now the flash explosive charge is not going to find Paz. He has the flash as well. The last auto not going to find him. No crocodile skin boots to be made this time, as now it's Vital's turn to try and be the big carry. Enti once again with the big thick skin shielding, but they just can't stick it on him. The Devour used just to get out. A sole point picked up for the Hawks.
And there was a lot of ideas, so much knife edge plays. Everybody got involved to some extent, and it all started with Reiner coming in with this Rel ultimate, and actually, sadly, while hitting onto multiple members, didn't get the crash down stun. I think if they had maybe been positioned slightly better, it could have gone even better, and the fight could have been over there. It didn't work out, so now the fight comes back, and when Paz enters into the fray, it causes a lot of issues for the side of the Hawks, because they are completely split. The issue is, Sengoku aren't decisive enough on who they actually want to collapse onto, so we get this fast forward and hopes that someone is going to secure something. Again, Sengoku was still split. Jet is so far forward and actually has to flash, but because he's far ahead, it's just a combo synonymous for them to just close it out. Hawks get to collapse. However, even with Grind being immune, it means they can't get the follow-up, which is what you really want to start doing, and this is just a bit of a mess from multiple members. Obviously, Paz does get out of this one, but I mean, both sides.
Victory for Hawks.
I mean, yeah, but both sides still were not doing this well. Like, Hawks could have definitely got a clean ace at some point throughout that. Like, there were multiple options and angles, and ends up only being a 1-for-0.
I think the overarching philosophy of this series, Swan, has been it doesn't have to be clean to be a victory. Hawks come through. Could they have played it better? Much more. So, yes, very much so. They could have played it better, but you know what? This is LJL, baby. We're in Game 4, quickly looking down the barrel of a Game 5, and chaos will reign. Chaos will be supreme, and it is up to Vital to thrive in this chaos for Sengoku. Bring it back from the edge and just close this out cleanly before you let Hawks get the mental edge going into a Game 5. Dasher, however, going to pick up some gold in the side lane there, get them well equipped to expand this slim lead they have right now.
Didn't realize we'd switch games and gone over to the Chaos Chronicles, but I mean, hey, maybe I am Chaos. Maybe you're Chaos, Dodge. Who knows?
Everything's chaos.
Point? I mean, it feels like Blank, honestly, might be the chaos factor in this game, because he is a player who has defined so much. In those losses, he's still been trying to find angles. In that game, too, he was the player that set it all off, and he's the player here who is setting up a lot of those ults, who is playing in those angles, and he's finding those knocks into wall, which are keeping Hawks in a lot of fights, and hey, even winning some of them. They're on that Dragon Soul, and it was that Dragon, that first one, remember, what he secured because he had that empowered smite. There have been catalyst moments throughout this series, and I mean, hey, feels like Hawks are in a position to take it, but Sengoku are with a composition which won't back down, and I would even argue to you, Dodge, Vital very much outscales Marble.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit, that it's hard to necessarily quantify, but I would agree that Vital is going to be in a very fine position come the late game. I think
Can he finish boots, though? That's my question.
Oh, yeah, those are some ugly brown paper sacks he's got going on. That is a fashion faux pas, Vital. You gotta step it up. You gotta get them Gucci slides going.
Oh, yeah.
If you can't tell, folks, we've well and truly hit the low state now that we're talking about the fashion metaphors. But Blank Sunfire are going to aggro the Baron. Don't get excited. They're not trying to take it. They're looking for a pick before they go on to that, or they're waiting for this soul. No reason to force a Baron and throw everything away now. As Jet on Silas in that brush, if you recall back to Game 1, is where some big shenanigans went down. Not going to be any shenanigans this time around. Instead, it will just be a continuation of this ping pong of setups. One team moves into the empty spot while the other team cross maps. We're just waiting for that objective to hit the rift to bring them together. That will be that Mountain Drake in 1 minute. Which team are we feeling more confident in executing in that 5v5 when it does arrive?
I mean, for me, it's going to be that Sengoku. I am also hopeful that my audio is currently going out. I accidentally had a slight technical issue for 30 seconds there while you were talking so eloquently, Dodge. But I do believe Sengoku are primed and favored. Like, I mean, Paz has got three items. He's got that GA. Like, if they're going to do it, this is now. Jet's got 3 items. He's got to avoid stuff. Like, he can go through anybody. If they're going to do it, they need to knock the nail down right now. Or I am very scared for the side of Sengoku Gaming, because then I think the Hawks could very much come into it. 18 seconds, 15 seconds, Dodge. They need to get priority in lane. They need to get in the river, or they're just not going to be able to do anything. This dragon will get deleted. There is a Gwen. There is a Talia. There is a Tristana. They can melt something like a dragon.
Yeah, Kanatsu doing such a good job keeping Paz out of things as well. There was no wave quite yet. It finally arrives, and this is when Sengoku was trying to push forward. But look at the Hawks. They're already on the Drake. They're going to cut through this so quick. The approach is so late. The Reaver's Wall from Dasher is just all they need. It's the icing on top of the cake. These tankier dragons in a post-12-14 world, though, are actually proving quite hard to get through as once shows up. And somehow Hawks have forfeited position. They do get the Poppy ult to re-equalize things. Jet on the deep flank only has the Tristana ult, however, does have the AP scaling element to it, though, so it should be good enough for some single target burst. Once again, we're in a 50-50 situation. Once going in, he has the Crescent Guard. Here comes Paz on the Renekton into the Dominus. It will be Sengoku to pick up their first Drake, as now over the wall goes Jet. He finds it. He's finding the pop-up as the Moonlight Vigil going to go so huge. Rhina going to find the crash down away, but it will spell nothing as Dasher's firing blanks right now at the side of the Hawks. This is a bad, bad spot to be in if you are this Geomancer. Dasher trying to kite it on out. As NT actually really can't approach the zone control. So crazy from Dasher. Finally finding an extra flank angle. But look at all the damage he got down. He actually takes out NT and forces the stopwatch from Jet. That was such a well-played attempt from Dasher, but it still does lead to the Sengoku Baron take.
Absolutely, and if anything, the members of the side of Sengoku were kind of happy to have that last for a long time. It means that Dasher is going to be late on the back, but I mean, this all starts from once aggressively finding the ability to run forward. He does flash. I do think that was a bit of a faux pas, but it doesn't matter. They were able to work it out, and once they get around, look at Jet. He's just zoning Marble himself. The fact is, he's able to get in, and they do secure the dragon. The fact that Vital gets it, we'll talk about in another day. That's not here or now, because afterwards they're able to collapse upon it immediately. But it's the stun into the Moonlight Vigil, into Jet landing it, and then it's just a formality for them. This was very well played by Dasher. But, I mean, in reality, this shouldn't happen. Jet, NT, and honestly wants to just let Dasher back. You just count your chips, all right? You just go, yeah, don't get greedy. You don't need to. They wanted to get the ace. Fair enough. They do get the Baron. Fair enough. It's not on Anti. That sucks. But ultimately, it still worked out for them. And most of that damage at the end of it is coming out for Dasher at the very end of that exchange of the fight and not the actual team fight.
Yeah, it's a very frantic, very hectic, scattered exchange. Oh, yeah. But that will be 2 Mountain Drakes now for Sengoku. Means they're going to be pretty beefy, whether that is Paz or NT, going to be able to absorb a lot more punishment. Look at Jet finding the blind spots where there's no vision. This could be so huge. Back up to an 8-stack Darkseal with the Rabadons. It's going to be blank, looking for the angle, but the Gravitum going to root him in place. There's the Everfrost for the CC chain. The hammer's too little, too late. Vital picks up another one. Sengoku up 5k and really looking to close this series out now. It was wishy-washy for a while, Swan, but they are in a very, very scary spot.
And weirdly enough, that ultimate from Blank actually ended up being a package delivery service and a taxi, because it allows ones actually to get quickly to the mid lane to now actually escort this lane in mid. So now they're pushing from 2 lanes, and they kind of benefacted from an ultimate from Poppy. I'm so confused, but look, the Baron minions, they're getting the top one, they're getting mid. Well, they're getting bot, they got mid, and they're just going to keep forcing. Sengoku want the win, and they're looking for more.
Yeah, Jet has the Rel ultimate as well. This could be a huge team fight tool. He is level 17. His ability to steal ultimates is on such a low cooldown. Kanatsu trying to do what they can. The needlework is doing so much damage. That is Jet shoved back. The exhaust is out. All those stones smacking him in the face will do a lot of damage, but not quite enough, especially when you got a big old catfish there to spit you to safety. A sequence of play purely in the favor of Sengoku, and they should have time to get back out on the map for this Baron in 35 seconds as well. It really feels like we're on the precipice of the 3-1 that so many predicted coming out here for Sengoku.
Yeah, but it's all going to come again around to this dragon fight. However, Sengoku have now well and truly wrangled control of the Hawks. They've now got a 6k gold lead. This is a 3,000 Baron power play. God, I want to call it the Red Bull one, but we're not sponsors and it's different leagues, so it doesn't matter. But what a performance coming out from Sengoku Gaming. They turned the switch, and wow, it really does feel like a switch flipped, because they're playing these team fights just night and day differently from how the rest of this series has gone. Yeah, game 3 was a scrappy one. It was very weird. It was not a lot happened, and then suddenly everything happened and it was over. Whereas this one, it's a battle. Both teams want it. 3 dragons going over to the Hawks, but Sengoku were tenacious and tenacious as always, and they wanted to come in. They wanted to fight it, and it's dragons coming up again. Dodge, what a weird game. What a weird one.
Indeed. It's been a war of attrition all the way through. We took a look at that total gold graph over the course of the game. It's dips, it's dives, it's backs and forths.
It's a roller coaster.
For sure. And this could be where the thrill of that thrill ride comes to its apex, as we see Sengoku with all of the setup they need around this pit right now. Softbank Hawks having a hard time approaching. And I want to point out that the driving force, we look to both of these mid laners to really be the deciding factor. Jet finally showing up in a big way after what feels like so long. Softbank Hawks, they know they have to snap their jaws around this immediately, though they can't afford to give this up. They need their soul if they want to withstand this, if they want to last. But the super minions will be pouring into their base. Jet once again going for the deep flank, as that is going to be once brought back into the stone, stunned up a little bit. Does have the GA though, so has an extra life to play with, so to speak, as Jet gets the needlework. That could be so huge, especially after that needlework was changed to be free fire, as that is the sole point taken through for Sengoku. That is Jet on the flank, already blowing them up. That is going to be Sengoku's victory. You have to feel as Paz comes out of the GA. Vital going crazy, Paz going forward. That is Vital on the side as well. Free fire mode, open season, home on the range goes Vital with the quadra, as now Marble's trying to do what he can. Overwalk all you want, kite all you can. It does not matter. Sengoku is inevitable. They will be going to the finals to meet Detonation. Focus me.
That was some fancy feet wombo combo starting to come out, but ultimately Sengoku secure it. Vital and Jet and everybody deserve it, because please, Sengoku, take a bow. What a performance.
Absolutely so. Very nicely done by my boys. I never doubted them. I never called a 3-2, and the analyst desk will let you know why it was never in doubt. Oh, man. Oh, man.